What's up guys, I'm Dakota Freeman and welcome to my channel. Today I want to teach you how to go from never being on a dirt bike before, and after this video you'll know exactly what you need to practice to be better with the clutch every time you go riding. If this video helps you out, make sure you drop a comment below to let me know. I'd love to hear about your success story going from never riding, now you've mastered your clutch and you're out there on the trails. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, let's dive in. Alright guys, so in this video I want to go over what you're going to do before you even get on the bike. I want to go over where your controls are on the bike, so that way you're the safest when you get out there on the trail. And then we're going to dive in on practice techniques so that you can master your clutch. So first things first here, let's talk about gear. Before you even get on the bike, you're going to want to get a really good helmet. This is going to save your life out on the trail if you're to go down and hit a rock. Any dirt bike ride, no matter in a grassy field, on a trail, on a motocross track, it can end up very bad very quickly. So always have your helmet on to make sure that you are going to be the safest when riding. You really want to keep your confidence high, wear a helmet, so if you do go down, you're not scared, and we hop right back up and get right back on the bike and keep riding. The second thing is going to be, you're going to want some nice boots. I'm not talking like a work boot or a hiking boot. Motocrossers wear a full protective boot to keep your feet safe, your ankles safe when you're out on the trail. So make sure you do the same, and let's go ahead and get into the next part of this lesson. So before we hop on the dirt bike here, let's really get comfortable with our controls. You're going to have 5 main controls. Those are 1, the throttle, 2, the front brake, 3, the clutch, 4, the gear shifter, and 5, the back brake. So now let's dive into more detail on where these are located on your dirt bike. In our right hand, we're going to have our throttle. This is a twist grip on the right side of the bars. We also have our front brake lever. This is going to be our front wheel, how to stop it. In our left hand, we're going to have our grip with our clutch lever, which we're going to be diving into a lot more detail here shortly. Also, we have our stop button. So now moving back on the bike. So on the right hand side of the bike, this is the right foot peg. This is going to be your back brake. Simply use it by tapping down with your foot. Moving from the right hand side of the bike to the left hand side, located right in front of the left foot peg, is going to be our gear shifter. On my bike, I would shift this down to go into first, up into second, and so forth. But always know how the gearing works on your bike before you get out and go learn on it. So look around the bike and get a feel for these controls before you dive on and start riding. That way you're more comfortable on the bike before you even get to using your clutch. Now that we've gone over the 5 controls on a dirt bike, let's go ahead and hop on. Alright guys, now that we're on the dirt bike, let's find out where we should be sitting. For learning purposes here, let's keep you in the middle of the bike. We don't want to get too far back, and we really don't want to get too far forward here. You really want to just be where you're most comfortable. So now go ahead and sit on your bike and get a feel for it. You know where the controls are, so go ahead and feel the front brake and the clutch. Know where your back brake and your gear shifter are. And you should have your feet located right around your pegs. And make sure you're always riding with your elbows up and at a 90-degree angle. This is going to ensure you have the most control as you're learning to use your clutch on the bike. As you're just sitting on your bike, you can now kind of lean it side to side to get a feel for the weight of your motorcycle. When you are going into a corner and you're steering your bike, you want to be able to lean it into the corner to help it guide around there. So before we're riding, go ahead and lean the bike side to side so you can go ahead and get a feel for the weight of the bike. All right guys, now you know what kind of gear you're gonna need, you know exactly where your controls are on your dirt bike, and you know where to be sitting when you're gonna learn how to use your clutch. So let's dive into more detail on how you're gonna develop better skills with using your clutch every time you go ride. When you're just learning how to clutch on your dirt bike, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is crank your bike, put it into first, and start to let the clutch out until you feel the point that the bike is actually starting to move. Find out the point of engagement where when you're letting the clutch out, it starts to react with the motor and move your bike forward. It's gonna be different on all bikes, so make sure you hop on your bike and find this point of engagement. This is gonna come from being in gear and letting the clutch out until you feel the bike start to move underneath you. You don't need to apply throttle right now, as the bike's gonna do it itself. When we're using the clutch, you wanna use it very slowly. Exaggerate this process at the beginning to make it easier for you over time. Never pop the clutch out. You wanna really use the slightest little movements to let it out slowly over time. Do that a couple times over and over to where you're gonna start to know where that point is on your dirt bike. So as you find the point of engagement and you know where the bike is gonna start to move, let's go ahead and start to apply throttle as we get to this point. You never wanna give it much throttle at all here, just enough to really get the bike going. Once you know where your point of engagement is and you find it, let's start to increase the throttle, never going over a quarter throttle, but just enough to now let the motor move with the bike as you're letting that clutch out. You want to do this super slow when you're learning. The slower you let the clutch out and the slightest little bit of throttle is really all you need when you're making this maneuver happen. When you're just learning, you can use your feet to start to kind of walk the bike forward as this is going into motion. So the way that we let the clutch out all the way, the bike successfully goes into gear, is going to be by finding that point of engagement, that point of minimal motion, applying a minimal amount of throttle simultaneously, and then continuing the throttle as the clutch is let all the way out. So now that you know how to use your clutch, just know you're gonna have to practice this over and over until it's second nature. It's not something that's gonna come the first time you get on it. So I don't want you to get discouraged if you get out there and you don't get it right off the bat. Just remember, this is the hardest part of learning how to ride a dirt bike, using the clutch to work the gears. And it can't be more frustrating when you're learning every time the bike stalls. But I promise, if you keep it up and listen to what I've told you in this video, you will move right past this step and be using the clutch with ease. So make sure you stick with it and keep practicing. So things you can continually go over, find that point of motion and where the bike just starts to engage. Once it engages, apply a little bit more throttle. If it dies, crank it up. Let's do it again. I really hope this video helps you out. Let me know down in the comments below. I can't wait to hear about your success story. How you went from not riding a dirt bike and now you've mastered your clutch and you're out on the trails. Please subscribe, like this video, and I can't wait to teach you guys more about how to get into the outdoors. I'm Dakota Freeman. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. We broke it.